Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday. As you know, Avero goes live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. And today I'm super excited to introduce you to one of our newer members of the Avero team. He is an associate consultant with our team, and his name is Mason Helvey. Good morning, Mason. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And so today I thought it would be fun and a little bit unique for you all to hear from Mason's perspective, right? Where his journey began, how he found Avero, what projects he's currently working on, and what problems he's helping our clients currently serve. So, without further ado, Mason, I will let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. That was a great introduction as it was. So my name is Mason Helvey. I'm newer with Avero, but I come from a background of legal consultation, just making sure that compliance is looking good to go. Before that, goodness, I worked in like as a insurance broker, and before that, I sold really high-end furniture. So if you needed like an $11,000 couch, I was your guy.
Yes, no, I love that. I love that. That's so funny because I too obviously come from a sales background, but a financial background as well. And Avero kind of found me. So I think that's unique. If you are joining us today, please let us know where you're joining from. Please ask us questions. We love for you to comment in the comment box to keep the conversation going. And also, this is just a very unique opportunity where you all can ask questions to someone who is very hands on and very boots on the ground. As I mentioned already, Mason is an associate consultant and he does help our clients solve their most prominent problems and fix their most common pain points. Also, you'll see in the bottom of our screen, we do have our latest and greatest lead generation asset here for you. So it's the ERP Transformation Survival Kit. So please check that out. Let us know what you think. Let us know what's missing. Let us know if you'd like to see more of this content or something different. So, Mason, you've already talked a little bit about your journey right to Avero. Um, how did you find Avero, and what intrigued you most about Avero Advisors?
Well, like I was saying, so I was in legal compliance before this. So it was a lot of like very focused on like data. It was a lot of very attention to details. A lot of reviewing a lot of state statutes, things like that. Which sounds a little tedious at the face level, but at the end of the day, I really kind of enjoy that kind of element of things. So I was looking for something that would allow me to continue to work in a space where I had that attention to detail. I was able to kind of work in with that kind of stuff. Because I think of it as kind of like a puzzle, you're looking through all of finding the important things and piecing it all together. So I wanted something, but I wanted something that had more of like a direct impact. And that was what kind of really made me really feel more comfortable with Avero and what Avero is all about. Being able to kind of have that, while not explicitly direct, but still indirect kind of connection to be able to say, hey, here's something where if you make a change here, that trickles down to something that would affect so many people. And that was something that was really powerful for me. And I was like, that's so cool to be a part of that. Like you make a change, help something out at a city or a county, or even just like a business organization level. And then that goes to your consumers. Everybody who touches that now sees that benefit. That's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. And when Mason and I were preparing for this live this week, we went down a rabbit hole of what we love most about Avero. And this very topic came up. How many lives are we changing by, automating a permitting process or taking out the inefficiencies within that process, right? Then all of a sudden, a permitting process, that took a year right now takes 1 month. And so that's very powerful for everyone that's involved in that process, especially the constituents, right? You're serving them a lot more efficiently and a lot more quick. So Mason, thank you for sharing that. That is a big part of my why. And I think of everyone who works for Avero, their why as well. We get to help so many people. We touch so many lives. So it's pretty special. So other than, helping people and seeing the work that we do, Was there anything else that stood out in particularly about Avero, maybe once you interviewed, if you want to talk about the culture?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I could say this about any kind of organization that you're with.
Yep.
At the end of the day, the heart of it is the people who work at it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have a quality kind of people that are really getting things done, boots on the ground, all that kind of stuff. But it's every little part of it. It's your company culture of something where it's you have professionals with backgrounds in so many different perspectives. I mean,
Hmm.
people who are ex-police. We have people who were previously teachers. I work with an associate who he got a degree in neuroscience. All of these kind of things where it's just, but these are all different perspectives that all inform these kind of things where you have different people approaching problems from different ways, and you
Hmm.
can kind of work with that. That's so cool to me to have all of these different people who are all focused towards the same goal of helping the client, but can think of a solution in so many different ways. For me, that's so cool. Like, I don't know. It's just it's a great thing. But I mean, even taking from my own perspective, right? So
Uh-huh.
like I worked in furniture sales. What does that have to do with, with ERP? At the core base value, I mean, it comes down to you look for a solution. You take somebody comes to you with a problem. Hey, I need a new sofa. And now
Mhm.
it's like, okay, cool. What do you want to have out of this thing? What is this thing?
Right.
How big do you need this thing? Where's it going in your space? All these kind of things. It's all the same kind of application, but just a very, very different thing. It's not a sofa anymore. It's an ERP system, but the needs are the same. What do you want to accomplish with this? What does this need to look like? How do things need to be? And then connecting with the right solution. So it's taking the right thing and it's finding, okay, cool. We now know what you need. Let's get you to the right spot. Find you
Right.
something
And
real cozy.
that's right. That's right. I love that analogy. That's great. And I think at the basis of what we do, it's relationship building. It's having the want to take care of people and people who are experiencing true problems, right? And being willing to go above and beyond to help them solve that problem.
Yeah.
So I think relationships are a key, obviously, to what we do. So what kinds of client projects have you been involved in so far?
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's a variety of things because it's not just like one thing.
Okay.
So projects tend to kind of start one place and then they usually kind of expand to like, okay, well, we're looking at this, but also we kind of need to look at this, and also there's some other elements we need to pull in to get this data. So I mean, I've been working on goodness, working on a couple of different like really large ERP implementations. I worked on an ITSP, which is like it takes a lot of different elements of like looking at like what are all of the current programs that you have that you're
Mhm.
using. What are things where the base of it, it really kind of comes down to like what do you have, what do you like, what do you not like, where do you want to be, and it takes all of those kind of things together, and that's been kind of a overarching kind of element to a lot of the projects that I've been a part of.
Mhm.
Like they take a lot of forms, obviously, but the baseline of it really is just kind of getting an understanding of what are your clients like, what are you looking at, and then where do they want to see things down the road. Because we're not, I mean, we don't work with any particular IT solution group. We don't work with anybody specific. We kind of make sure that we are entirely client focused from the get go, which is to me super powerful. Like being able to take that and say, what are your needs? What do you want to be at? And so I like that. I mean, it's just a cool time. So
It is, and I think you make a great point. So we are vendor agnostic,
yes,
right? We work in the corner for our clients. We represent our clients, which are city, county, quasi government agencies across the United States. And so, really, our go to market and where we want to be is we want to be that trusted advisor that helps our clients break through the noise, right? There are so many things going on in local government technology or GovTech, right? In terms of AI, in terms of the next latest and greatest ERP solution, and how do our clients even know where to begin when they're looking at spending millions of dollars on a new technology system, right? They know what they're hearing from their vendors. They know what they're hearing from their peers who have been through a similar transformation, but where do the real answers lie, right? And that's where Avero comes in, and that gets me so excited. As you guys can see, I'm like, oh, this is where we want to be, and I think it's so unique that we are unbiased, right? And that we have seen what's worked, what hasn't worked, and we're able to provide that advice to our clients.
It's funny that you kind of mention AI and everything, because there's a lot of clients who they're either really into it or they're a little skeptical. And so
Right.
it's one of those things where you kind of have to tread that line.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we always kind of mention, and this is consistent across the board, is always this: you regardless of whether or not you are currently using AI or it's a part of your whole kind of process, people in your organization likely are already touching AI in some capacity. Even if they're consciously or unconsciously kind of working with it, it's one of those things where it's somewhere in there. It's
Right.
just kind of the nature of how businesses are kind of going in this direction here.
Yep.
We talk a lot about it, and helping people to kind of navigate that element as well is really kind of a really important part of how we kind of go about our own processes, because you have to stay on top of this stuff. Otherwise, you're just going to get kind of lost in the sauce, and it's like, okay, well, where do you kind of go from here? So being able to kind of guide through that process too has been really rewarding. Just making sure, hey, whether or not you're doing it, you should probably have some sort of policy in place regarding it. Just
That's right.
basis. Just make sure
Well,
you're aware of it.
yeah. It comes down to how is your data being
Yeah.
shared,
Yes.
right? And with our local government agencies, they have some, private information that does not need to be shared with certain bots to be able to help you run more efficiently or help you automate. So I don't disagree with that, Mason. That's a great point. Guys, I hope we're still live. I had some technical difficulties while Mason was talking about AI, and it's asking me to refresh the page. So if you did comment in the comment box, I can't see them now. I did want to address one question, because I did see one from our fearless leader, Mr. Abhijit Varakar, who is creeping on our live today. He said, what makes a good consultant? And again, if you guys can't see, I mean, somebody let me know if they can still see us or if we're still live. Because if not, I need to refresh. But Mason, we'll go ahead and continue because we're recording anyway. So, in your opinion, what makes a good consultant?
I would say there's a couple of things that I would say make a good consultant. First and foremost, you have to care. If you don't care and you don't actually want to see that things get done, then it's not going to happen. No amount of anything is going to motivate you more than yourself. So you have to actually want to be there, want to see that change, want to see these things. And that's something I see consistently across everybody that I work with. So that also tells me I'm in the right spot. The other thing is it's listening. It is a matter of making sure that you are actually taking the time to really dial in on what are clients talking about? What are they saying? What are the things that they're actively saying are important to them? So it's a matter of making sure that you are actually taking good notes, making sure that you are recording as much as you can in terms of just dialing in on all those discovery sessions, all those elements of listening to what do they need? Where do they want to be? Because we don't just come in and we kick down the door and say, we're replacing everything. You don't need this, scrap all that stuff. We have to also
Get it out of here.
Get it out of here. No, it's a matter of making sure that you're looking at both the things that they want and the things that work. Don't just take things and say, okay, this we can just scrap all this and just throw it out the door. You have to also hear, hey, if this is working, or this is something they like, or there are elements to this that they like, but maybe it could work differently. Those are all important parts that have to be evaluated in your overall kind of considerations. You have to make sure that you're looking at, like, okay, what are the things that they want to see long term? Do they already have something that's working that maybe it's underutilized? Maybe they have something that it's working great for them. This is a part we don't even have to touch. We just have to, and we can put that into there or say, hey, this is working. When we get a vendor, we need to work around this. This is important to them to continue to work and do things and get things done. So all of those parts are really important, but it all comes down to active listening, making sure that you're kind of probing for those questions and getting those kind of understanding while you're listening to your client. I can't do anything unless I know what's going on.
That's right. That's right. And I think you make a few good points here, right? Number one, no, we're not going to come in and say, hey, you have to replace your full ERP system, right? Sometimes we go into organizations in which maybe they had a failed ERP implementation, 3 to 10 years ago,
Right.
and they're not utilizing their current system to its full capacity. And, these guys have day jobs, right? So they need to process payroll, they need to process permitting. And so maybe, they just went with the old way, right? And didn't utilize the system to its full capacity, is my point. And so then we can help them solve that problem and put that process in the appropriate system. Therefore, you don't have to purchase a whole new software solution, right?
It's so common. It's so common to see people because and that's one consistent thing that I've seen pretty much across all of my clients is that
Mhm.
there will usually be something where we have this thing and I want it to be good and I want to get my job done and it doesn't work. And so I am going to find some kind of workaround, some kind of something. I mean, if it's me,
Yep.
usually it takes the form of an Excel document, or
Right.
it's sometimes it's manual. It is just writing down a piece of paper or tracking logs somewhere else, or things along those kind of lines. And you look at that and you're like, there are just other ways that we can make this more efficient. We can make this more interconnected, and it's also kind of showing people that exists. A lot of
Mhm.
people don't know that there is a better option or there is something. So you kind of get stuck in that track, just like you were
You
saying,
do. You
where
do.
you're
I mean,
just doing it.
that's right. That's right. I mean, we're guilty of it,
Oh,
right?
of course, sure.
I mean, we are a very rapid growing company,
Mhm.
right? And not everything is, I mean, sorry to let the cat out of the bag, but not everything is as efficient as it should be, because we are trying to run a business and take care of our clients, right? So we've been in the same boat, right? I think too, Mason, you bring up a good point about being curious,
Yes.
right? Being curious, asking those questions, not letting vendors or anybody else take advantage of our clients. And if we don't understand something, or if we have a gut feeling about something, we're not scared to ask those hard questions, right?
Yeah.
For our clients. Like, we will go to battle for our clients. And I think that differentiates us. Like, we don't all the time accept no as an answer or accept just a very basic answer, right? We want to fully understand what's going on, and that comes down to good communication and good questioning, right?
I will say too, to that point, I have a quick anecdote just regarding
Yeah.
exactly that. Because I had a situation like that with an associate of mine, where we've been going back and forth on a very important kind of presentation. We're
Uh-huh.
really trying to make sure we understand this. We've been working with the core team to make sure that everything is good to go. We have done, I mean, just consistent kind of communications, and we've been taking information, building something out. We had a huge slideshow together. I mean, it was 60 slides of data,
Whoa.
of so much stuff. I mean, so many things that was ready to go. We had this breakdown. We gave the presentation. They came back to us and they told us, well, this isn't quite what we wanted. It's not as punchy as we want it to be. It doesn't quite have the thing. And we want to show, can you show us more of this kind of data to be able to kind of look at things and really show kind of the what we're going to get out of this. And so we had to kind of break down and say, no, we cannot provide you this information because your system lacks this baseline.
Right.
Your things are broken in a way where we need to be able to, we can't even reference these things, and really breaking this stuff down for them to say, hey, this needs to be better in this way for you to even really compare these things long term moving forward, which is, it's a tough thing to say. It's a tough thing. And by the end of that, though, they said, hey, that's the sell. That's how you make that punchy, to be able to say, this is how you make your case, how you say, this is the need for this, and this is where this change comes into place, to project yourself into the future and to be able to set yourself up for future innovations and take advantage of that future technology. It's one of those tough conversations. You have to say, hey, this isn't as good as it could be.
That's right. That's
But
right. I think when we propose our services, when we respond to RFPs, there's a paragraph in there that talks about, we don't offer cookie cutter solutions. And this is what we mean by that, right? There is no framework for every single digital transformation project in local government, whether it be in local government or in the private sector, right? Every challenge is different. There is no template. There shouldn't be a template. If your consultant is using a template, you might want to rethink that. But my point is there's no template, there's no checklist, right?
No.
We have to meet our clients where they are and be at the table with them to help them solve these problems. And that comes down to giving them the harsh advice, right? Like Mason just mentioned. So thank you, Mason. I don't know, Mason, can you see the comments on your side? So it's on the right-hand side in
I
the chat
can.
box.
Yeah, there was a really good one from
Okay.
our associate Katie here. So it's how do you build trust with clients as a newer consultant? I love that question because it really comes down to, I mean, again, I kind of addressed it before. It comes down to listening, but it's also making sure that you are providing them the thing that they are looking for. So it's
Right.
taking that information and being able to basically, the way I like to kind of think about it is that any opportunity to produce something is an opportunity to produce something great. So even if it's something small, it's taking notes on a meeting. It is just breaking down, hey, here's like a quick thing that you're going to see for this one meeting that just breaks down, here's our agenda for the day. Make the best agenda. Cover all of the things, make sure that your emails are crisp, make sure that things are covering exactly what they're looking for, because that's how you build that trust. It's how they see, I am getting quality. I am being heard. They understand what we're projecting for the future. They know where we're at. They can keep tabs and they can inform me at any given time. You want updates at 3 a.m. We're not going to be happy to answer that call, but we will be happy to provide you the information.
That's right.
It'll be a
That's
little
right.
groggy, might need a little coffee, but you know.
Yeah, I have been there. I have been there. Yeah, many times. But, I think to build off of your answer, Mason, you're great, by the way, on video. I think you're doing a great job. Guys, show him some love because he is great. We're going to have him on the live stream maybe once a month. But to build on that, I think we're really good at humanizing, right? We talked about that before we jumped on the live stream today. We're good about not speaking over our client's head, right? Because I think when we, talk too technical to the wrong people, that does not instill trust in them, right? If we can show these people that we're real people, and that we are going to be in the trenches with them, that's the real beauty of who Avero is and what differentiates us. But we can't do that without meeting the clients where they are, right? And we talk to them like they're humans, right? Not like we're smarter than them, not like we're up here. Sometimes when you talk technology to people, it's a very uncomfortable subject, right? It's very uncomfortable. So I just wanted to make that point as well. I think we're really good at adding that human element to the work that we do. So, yeah. Well, real quick, guys, I just wanted to remind you all of our newest asset here at the bottom of the screen, the ERP Transformation Survival Kit. Please download that and let us know what you think. Let us know if you want to see more assets like this or if there's something different that you would like to see. Mason, are there any more questions that you see in the chat box?
A couple here and there.
Okay.
What is the most common roadblocks that you experience? That's a really good one. So common roadblocks that we run into. I mean, it's one of those things. We've covered this in a kind of a roundabout way here, but people do get kind of set in the way that they like to do things. I occasionally run into some folks who have been in one role for their career. I mean, where I've spent 19 years on this system. I set this up when it was initially.
They created the process.
They created it,
right?
and a lot of times you run into it where it's like, this is the guy in that role. I mean, he's the person doing that thing, and so it's a lot of taking the time to, and I kind of addressed this earlier, but it's showing them what is available. There's a lot of times nobody's going to know off the top of your head. I mean, even people who are in this stuff, looking into these things, know everything that's available, all of the options that are out there, unless this is what you do day in, day out, like we do. It's one of those things that it's just not going to be on your radar. You have your own job, you have your own things you have to look into. So keeping on tabs of these things, that's where we come in, where we can kind of show, hey, there are opportunities out there. We can use that expertise and know what is out there. Now, finding the right thing that's going to work for them, that's where we have to kind of build into that understanding, but showing them, hey, there are other opportunities. There are other things that can, while you're familiar with the system, or this is something where you're comfortable with, making them understand it's not the only way, and showing them there are other things. It may come down to it that, hey, this is still working for them, or this is still going to be the thing, and we don't pressure them to change these things. We don't make them like, hey, you got to get rid of that. That's not going to do it. But we show them the opportunities, and that's the other thing that's really cool, is just being able to know what's there. So
yeah. And I think it comes down to, we talk a lot about executive alignment, right? Like, why are we doing this project? Why now? What is the reasoning behind it? What are your outcomes going to be? And I think setting that vision and those goals and the outcomes at the beginning is what you go back to when this change is occurring, especially for the end user, right? Those who are most affected by this change. Right. This is the vision. This is what we're going for. It's not, hey, Sally Joe, we are doing this and that's it. Right. You can't do that. People are they're already resistive to change. If you start coming at them like that, they're going to be even more resistant to change. So I don't disagree with you. And guys, go back and watch the live I did with Billy, who's one of our awesome project managers here. We talk about this, and we talk about leading change, right? It goes from the top down, right? It's about how this is going to affect the overall organization. And it comes down to making sure you have that vision set at the beginning of the project.
Yes.
So, Mason, any more questions in the comment box?
Just to follow up on what you just said, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Billy said it better than I can now, so I will refer to that. Definitely go check that other one out. But I will say, definitely, you come down to, it isn't just the technical end of things. Like, well, we can advise on all of the kind of elements that are just inherent to this business, and just kind of like, okay, yeah, no, this is a system that's not working. This is the thing that could replace it. Plug and play, move things around, get your integrations, get all that kind of fun stuff together. Awesome. At the core of things, if you have certain problems where there's either a confidence issue in this system, or maybe they've tried to do an implementation like this before and either it didn't work out or wasn't the right solution, or somebody tried to advise the wrong way and didn't do their job in listening, and just take little pot shots there. But anyway, no, but if things didn't work out and you don't have that confidence, it's making sure that you also address the leadership end of things too, the core part of things, getting the support from the top down, making sure everybody sees, hey, we are all in this together. We are all moving forward in the same direction, and this is what we want to accomplish. That's so important to get that kind of core business community element behind those solutions as well.
That's right.
And we talk about that a lot. I mean, almost every conversation that we have with our clients really comes down to, and also, hey, what are you doing to promote this? How are you having these conversations? What kind of communication is going on in the business? How is this being presented? And it can take, some of these are, county level things where they're smaller kind of things, but it's making sure you still have all of those communications within the business, within the organization, making sure there's something, even if it's just a little memo board or something to that effect, just making sure, hey, these changes are happening. We're excited about it, and this is why.
Yeah, it comes down to communication and how you communicate. People receive communication very differently, right? And that's one thing we help organizations do. As Mason mentioned, we come up with a communications plan. How is this going to be communicated down? And sometimes it's not in the form of, an all hands meeting, or it's not in the form of an email. Sometimes it's a video, right? Sometimes it's a cartoon. Right? You have to change the way you communicate, especially throughout these long projects. But the key is to communicate early and often, always. Yes. That's our motto. One of the other roadblocks, and this kind of goes along the same lines, in the public sector, I think it's true in the private sector as well, but there are a lot of silos, lots of silos. We talk about the role of IT in these projects. It's very, very important. But sometimes IT doesn't understand what processes that HR has to follow, right? Or procurement, right? That's a big one. So naturally, there are these silos because technology has to be integrated a certain way, but HR needs a certain thing to be able to adhere to their rules and their process. So can you speak to that a little bit, Mason,
Oh, I
especially
sure can.
from
I
you being boots on the ground working alongside these people?
Well, this is actually a point that's very, very dear to me, only because I worked in compliance,
There you go.
making sure that everything is legal, everything is above board, everybody is very aware of these things. And so then stuff just kind of happens when you have silos. People will, I mean, your goodness, I'm trying to think of any particular example here, but I mean, you'll have a finance team that does something a very specific way, or you have a sales team or what have you, certain things where it's like, okay, this is the thing we're going to do, and we're going to run with this, and this is going to be great. Boy, if legal's not looped in, you can run into some hot water quick.
That's right.
Yeah, no, but having those silos, I mean, silos happen at a lot of different levels, and they happen at a level where it can even happen within smaller silos. So you run into certain departments are kind of operating in their own spot, and then teams within those departments may not even be aware of what another team in your department. You have people that are in the finance team aren't necessarily aware of what your forecasting team or your accounting team are really up against. And so maybe they'll have different systems that they're using, or they're using the same system, but in a way that doesn't talk to each other.
Right.
That's where you run into these things where it's such an opportunity to bring all this together, to break down those things, have that communication. But then you start running into some really cool stuff. You can run with that data. Now you have all that data, you can start making better use out of different types of AI tools, different things along those lines, or even just to look at it and say, okay, here's how I can forecast some stuff, even not using any kind of AI model or anything like that, but just being able to pull all this stuff together to say, let's make sure we get everybody around the same table, and let's all just kind of talk and say, okay, I'm using this, I'm doing this, and this is what I'm using it to accomplish. And oh, hey, I use that same system, but I use it in a different way. Or I do this, but I actually use a totally different system. It's like, okay, let's bring everybody together, talk all this out, make sure we're all on the same page, and then find the thing that's going to work best for everybody. That's the part that's really powerful for me, is having that.
It really is.
Where
Having that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because very rarely, again, they are running cities, they are running counties, right? They are running transit authorities and airports. When do they have time?
No,
right?
It's
It's crazy to even think about. They're trying to make sure that they serve their citizens and their constituents in the best way that they know how to, and that they've been doing it for 15, 20 plus years, right? So Mason, you've been here for a few months, right? What is one thing or one skill maybe that you didn't have prior to coming to Avero that you've really massaged and you've really grasped onto since you've been here?
I will say, so there's a lot of technical elements to a lot of these kind of things. So people want to know about AI. I didn't know much of anything about AI. It was one of those things where, like, I had the base understanding of these things. You get the fundamentals, but it's understanding, like, okay, what can this thing do? And that's where I really leaned on a lot of, like I was saying, the different partners that I have here. We have so many people with different experiences, skill sets, like just perspectives, all of the stuff, where I was able to lean on my team members to be able to really get an understanding, and I mean, very quickly get an understanding of what can this thing do. And they're happy to show me. They're like, oh yeah, you can take a PowerPoint, put it into here, and ask it for a different visual or to summarize things. You can move into this kind of stuff. You can take these things, but being able to get that exposure, then I'm able to now talk to that to my clients that I'm talking to, where they might be in the exact same boat I am, where I don't know what AI does. It could do something. I hear about it, but I don't know what it can do. And being able to take that and say, okay, cool, I don't know this. Let me learn, and then immediately apply it is super cool. That's been an awesome experience for me. I still very much consider myself learning a lot about what AI could do.
We're always learning
all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm a champion for it. I mean, I think it has a lot of potential in a lot of different ways. You have to hold its hand, and it's not going to just come in and take your job. It's not going to do that. But it has a lot of potential to act as a tool to be able to say, okay, cool, this is something I can take the data that I'm already using to perform a function in a higher way or a quicker way or a more efficient way, which is just I don't know. I think that's really cool.
Yes, it really is. And we're always learning. And
Oh yeah.
I want you to speak a little bit to how you all in the office, how do you guys share knowledge? What are some of the things that you guys do, particularly on Fridays? I want you to talk about that a little bit.
Oh, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, I will say in a general sense, we have like a, so there's, I mean, there's a couple of different ways to talk on Fridays. So we have like a very open office, which is great
Hmm.
for just being able to, I mean, you can stand up and say, hey, who's got time to show me this? Who can, has anybody worked on this? The amount of times that I have heard, hey, here's X deliverable, here's this obscure task that I need to make sure I can pull together. And then somebody will stand up and say, oh yeah, no, I did that a couple of months back, or I'm actually working on one of those right now. Come on over and see
That's
what
right.
I'm doing. That's great. It's a lot of, I mean, we keep a lot of different data on, I mean, what's a different kind of approach that you've taken to things? How have you kind of navigated certain types of things?
Hmm.
You'll work on a client for months, and maybe you don't touch something for a little while, or you haven't made something. You need a little refresher on like, hey,
That's
what does that look like?
right.
And then on Fridays we have a couple of different learning seminars. So we have our Friday huddles where everybody kind of comes together. We do an icebreaker, and then we do just a quick like kind of talking about just something. It's a learning opportunity for everybody to kind of come together and say, okay, cool. What's somebody runs a PowerPoint or somebody talks about a specific topic. Sometimes we watch a video learning class, which is really cool too. But
Uh-huh.
but no, we do a lot of just different kind of breaking things down and getting into more of an open forum, which is nice. Like you can address, I mean, here's a problem I'm running into, or here's a specific type of just, I mean, common common is a loose term only because of how nuanced some of our work is, but it's a common situation where you run into it, and then kind of breaking that down into here's how we approach it, here's a different way of kind of going about that. Those have been so helpful for me because it's a dedicated time to just learn from your more experienced peers, which has been awesome. I'm going to be running one actually relatively soon, so I'm looking forward to that too. uh,
All right.
yeah.
Nice. So what's your icebreaker? Have you
Oh,
come
I mean,
yet?
goodness. My go-to is always like, what is a, it sounds kind of funny, but my what is your biggest fear? Is the thing that I
Yeah,
always, it gets you, it lets you know people. Mine is a little silly. I don't like fish. I can't be in the same water.
really. Fish. We're gonna have to work on that. You know,
I'm gonna
I
have to
fish
work on
all
that,
the
but
time. That's what I do when I'm not at work. I fly fish. I fish on the lake. We go to the Holston River.
I'll eat them, but being in the same water, I have hyperventilated through a scuba mask. I have
Oh,
run out of the water. I was, they just give me the heebie-jeebies.
yeah.
Ugh.
I think so. There are two fears that I have. One is not being liked. Like I have the fear of not being liked.
Well, you don't have to worry
Isn't
about
that
that.
isn't that crazy? Oh, that's so sweet, Mason. But like, I fear that. I want everyone to like me, which is not reality, right? So that's something probably that I struggle with. Not that this is a therapy session, but um, also the dark. I don't like not being able to see
Yeah,
what's going to happen.
it's spooky out
Oh,
there.
it's weird. Yeah. Yeah, I do not like the dark at all. But no, that's great. And with these Friday huddles, someone different from the team leads it every week, right? And they have their own approach. And so it helps our employees be able to present, become better presenters. It helps them to share knowledge, right? And to share what some of their biggest challenges are or were for that week, right? And they can lean on their peers to help solve those problems. So I love that Friday huddle. I love the idea behind it. And these guys are so energized in the office. And I love in office work. As you guys know, we just moved offices. We came into a bigger space in Knoxville, and it's just been a space where we can collaborate and see each other and build those relationships amongst our team. And I think it's really, really special.
It's also
So.
gorgeous. You can see the view behind you. I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful.
If you guys, it's so it's been raining here in Knoxville for like the past 3 months, and we've had 3 days of sunshine, so we're all in a great mood. But yes, it is. We have great views, great views. Well, Mason, thank you so much. Do you have a closing thought? Go ahead.
Oh no, there was just one more comment in here that I wanted to make sure I kind of.
Oh, go
This
ahead.
one was directed at me. It was asking me what my long-term goals at Avero were.
There you go.
I want to continue to work in any capacity that allows me to build relationships with clients. If that means being a project manager, or that means kind of working more directly with just a relationship manager kind of position, something to that effect, that's the main thing that's important to me, is to make sure that people are heard, people are seen, people are having their questions addressed, but they also understand that we see them as not just organizations, but as people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing, that if I can continue to do that, that's what I want to be doing. So that's for me, that's a worthwhile career. So I definitely see that opportunity here, and I cannot wait to be there. So
Yeah, no, that's a great closing point. Thank you to whoever asked that question. It's a great question. Well, guys, Mason, thank you so much. You did a great job. Y'all let him know how good he did, and we want to see him back on the live stream. So let us know what you want Mason to talk about next, because he will be back on for sure. Before you leave us today, make sure that you download our ERP Transformation Survival Kit. Okay. Let us know what you think. Let us know if we should add anything. Let us know if you want to see more downloads like this. Just a reminder, we are on all social media platforms. So give us a like, give us a follow, comment, ask us questions, slide into our DMs. We want to hear from you. Okay. Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I guess it's X now, right? But all social media platforms, please give us a follow. And without further ado, we'll see you guys next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Thanks, Mason.
thank you so much.